allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Please be seated. Madam Clerk, may I have a roll call, please?
Jennifer Eden. Here. Al Poole.
Here.
Soren Peterson.
Here.
Chuck Schultz.
Here.
Mike Cunningham.
Here.
David Walker's absent, and Marcy Husted's here.
Any changes to the agenda? Take a motion.
So moved. Second.
Motion and supported to approve the agenda as presented. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed? Agenda is approved. Next is approval of consent agenda, the clerk's warrants and bills.
So moved. Support.
Been motion and supported to approve the consent agenda as presented. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed? We have no communications. Public remarks. If anybody would like to make any comments, now's the time to stand up and make any public comment. Okay, we have none. Unfinished business. We have one item. We had allocated funds at our last meeting to the Heartland Senior Center. What I would like to do is make a motion to withdraw that because the number was incorrect. We have the updated corrected number. So I need a second on that.
Second.
It's been motioned and supported to withdraw the motion from last week's meeting to allocate funds to Heartland Senior Center. Any further discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed? Now I'd like to get that adjusted with the correct motion. The amount is for $4,371 as opposed to $4,400.
Support. Second.
Motion and supported. It was motioned by Chuck and supported by Zorn. It's been motioned and supported to allocate funds to the Heartland Senior Center for $4,371. Any further discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Okay, that motion carries. Moving on to new business. Is Mr. Levac here? Welcome. His request for him to waive his fire run service charge. The board has received your letter and information from the police and fire department. Would you like to tell the board why you feel that we should waive your charges at this time?
I was involved in an accident where I was traveling southbound on 23. It was pretty nasty like this with slushy roads, traveling about 60 miles an hour. I seen a lady come past me, and I know it was a lady. She had blonde hair, and then she pulled right in front of me from behind a trucker with a trailer, and with no turn signal. With my actions, I put on my brake and I slid and lost control. I turned my truck 2.5 times, landed on the side. Thank goodness I walked out without a scrape. I did not call 911. Sheriff showed up, and I gathered my things. Fire department showed up, an ambulance showed up. The fire department helped throw some things that were in the back of my truck, on my truck. They had some bags of garbage and what have you. And not only being a mile away from the center road, I was charged $700 just to get my truck out of tow, And on top of this, I got a $1,400 bill, which I don't think was fair. I didn't call 911. I wasn't, seen by the ambulance or I don't know what you want to do. I was just kind of in shock to get that bill in the mail. I'm on Social Security disability. I'm not working. I don't have a vehicle since then. It was a 18-year-old truck. Almost 400,000 miles, Chevy truck. I don't know what to do, that's why I'm here,
Did you have insurance?
Yes, it's PLPD, regular, it was an 18-year-old truck. And I don't want full, you know,
And they don't cover that, emergency services under that PLPD?
no. I'm not working, you know, hips replaced, they want to replace my knee, and I was involved in an accident years ago. But I'm still walking and breathing.
400,000 miles out of your truck, it sounds like it served you well. And
Yeah, it was in perfect condition,
even
too.
got you through a rollover,
I
huh?
was for a couple more, you know.
There's a statement in here in the police report, it says that you were driving too fast.
I was about 60 miles an hour. I don't think it was, you know, I think it was suited for conditions. You know. Between 50 and 60 miles an hour I was driving. You know, I was doing fine until the lady, she pulled right out in front of me. I had to put on my brakes. That's when, if I didn't put on my brakes, I would have hit her in the rear end. She just pulled right out in front of me.
And she kept going, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Anybody else have any questions they'd like to ask Mr. Levac?
Did you try to turn the bill into the insurance company?
Yeah, we called, yeah. we
And
couldn't
they
get
told you what?
Nothing, we could get nothing reimbursed, nothing.
And I'm on my truck, you know, I had it. I
Nothing
just had
gets done.
$200 worth of work a week before on my brakes, and transmission was rebuilt a couple of years ago. That was $2,500.
So we're nothing is covered.
My question is I wish Dave was here to be able to answer this, but PLPD, even though there's an accident, there's cleanup involved and stuff like that. The fire department is called. Again, we're under one of those gray areas there for what the insurance company tries to pull on the insured. So whether or not this is a legit bill or not is not the question. Question is should the insurance company pay for it, or should this be even the township's burden to pay for it?
They said it would be LPD, they don't cover anything. Right. I said, with I have full coverage on my vehicle, I said, there's, you know, one cover for the other, they said, no. My name is on there, they said no.
Who's your insurance company?
Also,
Allstate.
You know, that's a question of the law, you know, I'd like to know too, because I thought that's what it covered, would be property damage and.
Exactly,
emergency
because if
services,
there's a
things like
rollover,
that.
there's a cleanup, that's part of,
Oh, the reason why we asked
I
is,
don't have to mess myself,
Well-
go for it through the snow for my tools. and-
regardless, that's part of the accident. That's property damage, whether there could be stuff from the truck spilled, they'd have to clean up, fill in a blank. And usually the fire department does that.
They helped a little bit, you know, I had garbage
right,
bags in the back of the truck.
right. Well, what happens is we have a protocol that's in place. Somebody calls in and there's a vehicle rollover incident. Those usually are pretty catastrophic events, so it's a priority one call. So everybody goes. They send ambulance, they send fire department, they send the sheriff's department. In case you needed any life-saving efforts, thank God you weren't hurt, and that didn't have to happen. You know, unless they can provide proof, I don't know, you know, and I don't know that it's our position to determine whether their insurance company should pay or not, you know. This is,
One of those situations where
I mean, whatever we decide to do, if they can come back later with payment from the insurance company, it would be payment, you know what I mean?
kind of ignorant to whether or not the insurance companies are liable to pay certain things, and if it's another way the bills are worded again, they're playing the game of not paying them because they can play the game. Now, regardless, the township residents are stuck holding the bill.
Did they ticket you?
No, there was no taking involved.
Yeah, there was no citation.
Look at the safety parameters. Roads were bad, actually. It wasn't for the person pulling out the car. You know, too bad someone to get a license plate number or, because there was no contact, so there was no accident. You know, felony, fleeing the scene of an accident. So, right now. Kind of a shock. It's the first time.
I see you raising your hand. The time for public comment has passed, but I will ask you, do you have something that's valid to the legality of the situation or something that you might want to add? I'll go ahead and entertain it.
I'm Mike Pissarro, I'm a retired policeman. The accident, when you have an accident like that, it's the record driver who's responsible for the cleanup. That officer is to ensure that the record driver cleans the scene before they leave.
Right.
It's part of the fee that you pay in having your vehicle removed.
Okay.
For being told there was like but
I'm just saying that,
they didn't, the records,
Right.
I'm sorry, the records, that was there. They didn't help, all they did was they towed my truck, they flipped it outside.
Right.
I was pilfering to the snow for all my belongings. And then what was in the back of the truck, I know the fire department did help throw some of that stuff back on the truck. No, I didn't want to leave a mess in the side of the highway.
Mike, you said you seen somewhere in there that he was driving, or it was stated in a police report that he was driving faster than road conditions
Yeah,
were
I'll pull
allowing?
it up. It's on,
Yeah, I haven't been able to find that, I guess.
Can't see it.
of course, page 2 isn't there. But there's another page of this that isn't on here. Oh, State of Michigan Traffic Crash Report, that's what you want to look at. And if you go down to the far right of the thing, about a fourth of the way down, it says hazardous action, speed too fast.
It's too fast.
Well, road conditions is what they're determining.
I wasn't driving 70, 65. I
Well,
was way less than that.
expert of the traffic laws, but usually what they'll tell you is that the speed limit's 70,
I was going with the flow,
except for
actually.
what road conditions.
And then on the very last page, there's a narrative that says, driver lost control on icy roads when another vehicle changed lanes in front of him.
Put that on turn signal.
So it's possible there are a couple contributing factors here, but,
Would you be willing to meet halfway?
that's always an option that the board can decide to do. I'm not going to make a motion on this because I've already, did your pill, so I'd kind of let the board make the decision on what they want to do here, so.
All right.
We've had this situation come up before, and we have to come up with something that's fair to both sides of this. but I really don't know how we can define it. We had one, I recall, we split it in two for a good reason. Now, there's probably a good reason here to do the same thing.
In your opinion, what are those good reasons?
Well, his circumstances, financial, of course. I think maybe the $700 is a bit ambitious. And considering that, if we were to split it in two, I think that might be
Yeah,
relevant.
but, I mean, financial hardship isn't,
No, but it gives comprehension. He's suffering a goods loss without these outside conditions. So,
My feeling is that, is there anything determining this was done on by somebody else to him? And what's weird is that it says in the traffic report,
but he wasn't
traveling.
cited.
Right, he wasn't cited, so that's a good thing, right?
Right.
But what's weird is they say he's driving faster than the road conditions will allow.
Which just said speed.
Okay.
Contributing factor, speed.
Contributing factor speed, okay. So that's not saying that anything, so that was not he wasn't cited for it, meaning, can I ask a retired police officer a question?
Sure.
So,
If he's willing to, if he's
if
willing
it
to-
means he
willing to
wasn't
interject.
cited, does it indicate that it was not his fault?
Part of the form is you have to complete it, so you have to give suggestions. And that is the officer's opinion.
But,
So it's just part of the form that you have to fill out. Zach, they would have cited.
okay, so if it looked like he was driving in a
Negligent.
way that he caused it himself, he would have been cited. So. I think we should make a concession on that.
I move we put this in two for the reasons stated.
I would support, you're talking splitting it in half,
Right. That's right.
at least cutting it by half.
Right.
It's indicated that it is not his fault, he did not draw the foul.
So it's half the other person's and half his, or all the other person's and not his? I guess it really doesn't matter, we have a motion, so. So, does anybody have any more questions for Mr. Levac, so he can have a seat? Go ahead, rest for a minute, so. All right, so it's been motioned and supported to split the fire run charges with Mr. Levac. Any further discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, nay. Okay, so. So what I'll do is I'll send you a letter, and it'll outline what you need to do next.
Okay,
Okay?
fair enough.
All right, thanks for coming down.
Thank you.
Uh-huh.
You'll have a good night.
You too. Next is reimbursement resolution for the proposed Lake Shannon Road Improvement Project.
All right, so we received petitions from Lake Shannon residents to have the roads redone, and we're gonna, this is the first resolution in, basically this one is the reimbursement resolution because the township is going to incur costs, and so it's basically to say that the township reasonably expects to reimburse itself for the expenditures after the proceeds of the bonds are received.
So I'll entertain a resolution.
So resolved.
It's been resolved and supported to approve the reimbursement resolution for the proposed Lake Shannon Road Improvement Project. Any further discussion? Madam Clerk, may I have a roll call vote, please?
Al Poole,
Yes.
Jennifer Eden,
Yes.
Mike Cunningham,
Yes.
Soren Peterson,
Yes.
Chuck Schultz.
Yes.
I say yes, and David Walker's absent.
Next is item number 3. Resolution number 2, to proceed with the Lake Shannon Road Improvement Project and prepare plans and estimates.
So this one is the resolution that we've received the petitions that have, and the required number of signatures has been received, and this is just to move forward with issuing bonds.
So resolved.
Support.
It's been resolved and supported to proceed with the Lake Shannon Road Improvement Project and prepare plan estimates. Any further discussion? Madam Clerk, may I have a roll call vote, please?
Soren Peterson,
Yes.
Chuck Schultz,
Yes.
Al Poole,
Yes.
Jennifer Eden,
Yes.
Mike Cunningham.
Yes.
I say yes, and David Walker's absent.
So that resolution passes. Next is item number 4, resolution to approve the Lake Shannon Road Improvement Project schedule for the first public hearing and issue notices.
So this is just a resolution authorizing the issuance of notification to all of the affected residents that there will be a public hearing scheduled for April 17th.
So resolved.
Support.
It's been motioned, it's been resolved and supported to approve the Lake Shannon Road Improvement Project schedule for the first public hearing and issue notices. Any further discussion? Madam Clerk, may I have a roll call vote once again?
Chuck Schultz,
Yes.
Soren Peterson,
Yes.
Mike Cunningham,
Yes.
Jennifer Eden.
Yes.
Al Poole.
Yes.
I say yes, and David Walker's absent.
That's all we're doing tonight for the Lake Shannon project. So for those that were here for that, you can stick around and stay, and if you would like to go ahead and leave, feel free to do so. Thank you for coming. Yes.
Yes.
Sure, yep. Next is the request of Renewal Lake Incorporated for a fireworks display permit. This is something that they do every year. It has to be approved by the fire department. They have to have insurance. It appears that everything is in order on this. Unless somebody wants to speak out against it, then I would go ahead and entertain that motion.
So moved.
Support.
Been motioned and supported to approve the request of Renewal Lake Incorporated for a fireworks display permit. Any further discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed? That motion carries. Next is a resolution to accept donation of Caldwell Cemetery fence. As you know, we have the Caldwell Cemetery up on White Lake Road. The fence is kind of fallen into bad shape, and a resident has decided that they would like to buy us a new fence. They have asked to remain anonymous, and all we have to do is pass a resolution to accept that donation. So unless anybody's opposed to that, I'll entertain that resolution.
So resolved.
Support.
It's been resolved and supported to accept the donation of the Caldwell Cemetery fence. Any further discussion? Madam Clerk, may I have a roll call vote, please?
Jennifer Eden,
Yes.
Al Poole,
Yes.
Mike Cunningham,
Yes.
Soren Peterson,
Yes.
Chuck Schultz.
Yes.
I say yes, and David Walker's absent.
Next is item number 7 is request to approve the annual pay increases. Every year we have to do this. We have 6 employees and a contract employee. The total impact to the budget will be $9,425 for the fiscal year of 2018. I also request that this be retroactive back to March 25th, which is the beginning of the pay period for our 2018 fiscal year.
And this is already budgeted, so.
Already budgeted. And we've already talked about it in budget meetings and stuff. We just haven't officially approved it.
So moved.
Second.
It's been motioned and supported to approve the annual pay increases for the employees for $9,425 retroactive to March 25th. Any further discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed, that motion carries. Next is request to renew the township property and casualty insurance, something that we do every year. See, our total is 14,000, I'm sorry, no, it's not.
It's, yeah, we
A
do.
little less than last year.
It's, yeah, it is a little bit
Yeah, that's
less.
the last year's rate.
Yeah, this is this year's.
Did I have it right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I had it right. 14,419, and last year it was 14,599, so it's actually gone down. Good. Yeah,
Wow.
we actually have done really well with our insurance policies here.
Let's know Dave's on the board.
I don't know if that's the case.
I move that we, well, we have to, yes, was the motion,
To
right?
renew?
Renew. I move that we renew our insurance.
Support.
It's been motioned and supported to renew the insurance. Any further discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, that motion carries. Next is item number 7, request to amend 911 protocol. We have one incident that came up, and I thought this was handled at the county level, but obviously they didn't, so they punted it back to us. We have infant seizures. When an infant has a seizure due to high fever or whatever, it's not a priority 1 call currently. So they send EMS. If a higher level priority 1 call comes in, the ambulance gets rerouted. And in talking with Jennifer, she's a former EMS, she says that that's not a good thing because a child can die from that. So I'm asking that the board, allow us to amend that provision of our protocol to make it a priority 1, which in turn will send a fire truck, so first responders go. I did have some conversation with our county officials on this and our EMS director, and I said, in most cases you have, your ambulance drivers are paramedics and they're more highly trained and highly skilled. I don't like the idea that the township is always having to step in and fill these voids for your funding mechanisms, and it just kind of seems to be the case now. In order to have road patrol, we have to pay for it. In order to get roads fixed, we have to pay for it. Now in order to get a priority 1 call, we have to pay for it by using our fire department. So, our contracted fire department, I should say. So, but regardless, there's a void here, and I don't think that that's a situation that we want to put ourselves in if we have a child that's not getting immediate attention when they're having a seizure.
So, just for discussion purposes, obviously I think we should do the right thing, but what would normally happen right now? So if something they considered a more of a priority 1, they would just divert the ambulance from this call?
Yes. We had an incident in the township where that happened. We had a child had an infant seizure, and EMS is en route, right? Guy has a motorcycle accident. EMS gets rerouted to the motorcycle accident because he's a priority 1. Second ambulance is on its way. Another priority 1 call comes in, it gets rerouted. We don't have any more ambulances on this side of the county. After 45 minutes, they took off and drove the child to the hospital. Child was fine, but
I hope we didn't send him a bill.
no, there's no service.
So basically, in a nutshell right now, if that comes in regardless, will they issue a call for an ambulance to go out there, and if it gets rerouted, will the fire truck come out, or is it
Yes.
automatically going to be a fire truck show up?
I believe that they're going to send, it's a priority 1 call, so fire truck will go. I don't know how many of these we get, not that many.
Probably flu season, if any, but
Right.
That'd probably be one. or
Well,
two.
and there may be other reasons too, that a child has a high fever, but I don't think it's make any major impacts to
No.
budget. You know, it's
No.
not really a budget item deal. It's a fact of, are we providing the services that our residents need?
Well, is the fire truck suitable for transporting people that have that?
No, they still have to wait for the ambulance. They can't
At
transport.
least they're
But they
getting.
can help.
But
they're
if
getting-
if the child needs, CPR, oxygen, I don't know, they can't administer drugs unless they're an actual paramedic.
Right.
And I think Fenton does have a paramedic on staff now. So,
At least they can provide assistance until the,
at least
Ambulance
stabilize the
gets there,
patient.
so,
Right,
yeah.
right. Yeah, I think it's something that we should do. I would definitely like to see that, EMS handle these calls, just because they're much better equipped and they can transport, but I don't like the fact of, a mother standing there with her child that's having a seizure and she doesn't know what to do. Especially when she has to jump in her car and she's frantic because her child is doing something that she's not anticipating and have to drive to the hospital, so I think that it would probably be a good idea that we protocol. Unless anybody's against this, I'll go ahead and entertain that motion.
I support.
Support.
It's been motioned and supported to amend the 911 protocol for children's seizures to be priority one. Any further discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed, that motion carries. We have no miscellaneous business. Last call for public remarks. No public remarks. I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
It's been motioned and supported to adjourn our meeting. Any further discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Meeting's adjourned.